March 18th, 1998. Dear Elaine, I have been through several days of really miserable depression. Just out of the blue one morning, I woke up feeling depressed. And I think it all started with this stupid book, Simple Abundance. The author is a young woman. She's much younger than I am. She still has children in grade school. But listen to this. She said, what I ought to do is I ought to go to an artist supply store and I should buy one of these big artist sketchbooks and then bring it home and I should tear out a sheet and I should put it up on my wall. And then I ought to sit down and go through magazines and look for pictures of the type of houses that I'd like to live in. And when I see one I like, I'm supposed to cut it out and get a glue stick and then put that picture of that house up on my wall on my artist sketchbook page. And then she said I should go to a travel agency and I should look at their board that has all sorts of brochures for trips and cruises and adventures that I'd like to take. And I should pull these out and take them home and take my glue stick and put them up on the artist sketchbook page. And I'm also supposed to have a goody drawer where I keep scented candles and chocolate bonbons that will help me get through a bad day. Oh, good Lord. Scented candles and bonbons. And these things are supposed to help me get in touch with my authentic self. Oh, good Lord, my authentic self. Oh, well, I got to thinking about what my life was like when I was her age. And at that time, we were too poor to quit farming. We had to build the new milk barn to keep our grade A dairy status, and I had to learn how to milk, and I will tell you, I hated every single minute I spent in that barn. And this was just at the time that the women's liberation movement was getting going, and I was reading articles about how men were becoming impotent because they were having to dry dishes. Lord, drying dishes makes them impotent. Can you believe it? But I was thinking, at that time when I was shoveling manure out of that cow barn and sometimes spitting it out of my mouth, I did not have a lot of sympathy for those men. My thoughts were something like, oh, you poor babies. My heart just breaks for you. But I got to thinking about it, and I realized at that time I was being my authentic self. I was raising my children, and I was helping my husband hold on to his dream and what was precious to him. And at that time, we had never heard the word bankruptcy, and even if we had, we would have never considered it. I mean, we just tightened our belt and we worked our way through it. And it's the same way with Quentin's health now. This is not what either one of us had ever planned for or thought of or hoped for crying out loud. But it is the way that it is, and I feel like my authentic self is fully operational now again. But I can tell you, during those days of depression, I had a hard time doing anything. I really didn't want to do anything except for sleep and read. I didn't even want to get out of bed. And it didn't help anything when Quentin, three nights in a row, he would forget that he couldn't get to the bathroom on time. He'd be happy to sit there and go on his Depends all day long as he listened to his talking books, but then at night he would sit up and somehow he would get that rail on the side of the bed down, and then he would pull down his pajama bottoms and pull down his Depends, and then whoosh, rip. He would just let her rip, and urine would go all over the bed, all over him, all over the floor, and then I would come around and standing in a wet puddle, I'd have to clean up that mess. And so the last time he did it, I stood him up and I pulled off his wet clothes and I threw those in a pile, and then I put a clean depend on and I put on dry pajamas and I sat him in the chair and I stripped the bed and I flipped the mattress and I remade the bed, and then I got him in it and I tucked him in. I pulled up the side rail and I got right up in his face and I said, "Quentin, if I see you sitting on the side of the bed again, I am going to take a belt to you." I was mad as hell, and I deserved it. I've never hurt him, and I never want to. But that night, I felt like it. I really, really felt like it. And then last night, as I was doing my stretches, the Bible verse came to me. "All who are weary and heavy burdened, come unto me, and I will give you rest." That was as far as I could get, but that just kept going through my mind over and over and over again. And this morning, I woke up feeling like myself again.